Okay, before we go to oral communications, just a note that the 1:30 appointment that was printed on the agenda has been pulled. Otherwise, we'll be going in order until we don't. So, any member of the public may speak on any item not on the printed agenda. No action may be taken by the board. So I'll open up the podium for public comment. Anybody have any public comment? Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Mike Egner. I'm with Operating Engineers Local 3, and I represent the Tuolumne County Employees Unit here in Tuolumne County, obviously. I'm not here to negotiate or anything. I'm here just to share some information with you because it's interesting that your employees, our members, a majority of them are your constituents that live in the county, taxpayers, voters, and sometimes that's a fact that's kind of missed when you talk about public employees. What I'm really here for is I want to be transparent with the board. I believe that our organization, your employees, have a good relationship with your group, with you guys and gals, and you've been very transparent with me, and I want to reciprocate and give that to you. Back to you. Some of your employees right now with the economy, the way it's been, they're actually on assistance. They're getting assistance because we've been dealing with the last 6, 8, 9 months with the salary compensation study, and some of your employees are actually on assistance. The healthcare costs are huge, and our collective bargaining agreement was extended from July 1st.
Okay. We actually have the labor negotiations on a closed session item on the agenda. So it would be more appropriate if you made your comments prior to that closed session, and that closed session is at noon. Is there any way that you can come back at noon?
My first thought, to be frank, is it's kind of sad that I'd be asked to do that. No disrespect, but I'm not here I'm here just talking in general. I'm not here negotiating.
No, I understand it. It's a procedural issue. Is it a...
Right. So pursuant to the Brown Act, if there's a specific item related to what you're commenting on, your comments really need to occur right at that item, not prior to it. So it's a Brown Act issue.
I'm sorry. It's a matter of public law, so...
All right.
Okay. Thank you. Any other public comment on items not on the agenda? Yes, sir.
Good morning. My name is Howard Wendell. I've been a resident here in Tuolumne County for 20 years, and I'm here just to share some information with the board. Back in 2015, the President of the United States, Obama, signed into bill the hemp bill, making hemp products available for companies to bring about products made of hemp. I have a company called Top Shelf Products that we started, and I've developed a complete line of hemp oil products. And one of the things that hemp is good for is the natural constituent from hemp is CBD. CBD is a double alcohol molecule that is found not only in the hemp plant but also in the cannabis plant. What makes it legal for us to be able to use hemp CBD is the passage of the hemp bill. So I just wanted to bring that to the board's attention this morning. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
Thank you very much. Any other public comment? Okay. With that, I'll go ahead and close the public comment period. Will the clerk please read the consent agenda?
Minutes of the meeting held on February 9th and February 16th, 2016, finding that a summary of ordinance numbers 3294 and 95 were published, approving the out-of-state travel for Supervisor Randy Handel to attend the National Association of Counties Western Interstate Conference in Jacksonville, Wyoming on May 25th through 27th, 2016. approving correspondence to the United States Endowment for Forestry and Communities in support of the Yosemite Stanislaus Solutions Healthy Watershed Consortium grant application. Adopting a resolution continuing the local state of emergency required by the California Emergency Act, Article 14, 8630C, due to the drought conditions. Approving step increases from 4 to 5 for the County Council, Sarah Carrillo. Approving the amendment number 1 to the standard agreement for professional services with Wood Rogers, Inc. for serving and design services on the intersection improvements at Parrots Ferry Road and State Route 49 project. Adopting a resolution to accept the offer of dedication of a public road and public utility easement along Soulsbyville Road in Mono Vista, and accepting said public road easement for maintenance and inclusion into the county-maintained road system. Adopting a resolution to accept an offer of dedication of a public road and public utility easement along Upper Quail Mine Road, but rejecting the public road easement for maintenance or inclusion into the county-maintained road system. Declaring a vacancy on the Tuolumne County Planning Commission due to the recent passing of Peggy Mosley, and directing the clerk to post a notice of vacancy. Approving the reappointment of Steve Domser to the Carter Cemetery District, and as the Air Pollution Control District, adopting a resolution authorizing the Tuolumne County Air Pollution Control District to participate in the Carl Moyer Memorial Air Quality Standard Attainment Program for fiscal year 15-16, year 18, with the California Air Resources Board.
Okay, is there any public comment on the consent calendar? Okay, bring it back to the board for any comments. Anybody want to pull anything?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the consent calendar.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Supervisor Gray, a second by Supervisor Brennan to approve the consent calendar. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 3-0 with Supervisors Royce and Handbelt absent. Please read item 13.
Consideration of adopting a resolution proclaiming March 2016 as National Social Worker Month in Tuolumne County.
Good morning.
Good morning, Chairman Rodefer, members of the board. Corey Ashton with the Human Services Agency. And with me today is one of your volunteers, Lynette, who is a parent partner that works with families. The reason that we're here today is to ask your board acknowledge and recognize the tremendous work of the group of social workers, an outstanding group of men and women who are dedicated to improving your community's well-being. And they do that through a complex series of tasks and activities that improve the individual and family well-being and safety. The social workers here in the room, I would ask that you stand. You'll see we're a very large group here today. Normally, half of this group would be in court as it combines, our times overlap. But I'm excited to be able to show and demonstrate the group of individuals that have chosen social work as their profession. It's the one job that you will regularly hear these two phrases. One, I don't know how you do your job, and two, I could never do it. And I hear it in the board, I hear it everywhere. And so this is a group of individuals that will do that work tirelessly. And for that, we would like to ask that we recognize and acknowledge their hard work. This group of individuals believes that families and individuals can grow and change. We believe that we can work with people at that critical juncture in their lives, whether it be to establish an ability to become employable for self-sufficiency, whether it be to work with an elder who may have had a stellar life but near the end of their life have lost some of those key supports that will allow them to remain safe. We work with families with young children to ensure permanency and safety. But with that, I really want to acknowledge our partnership. And one partnership we have is with our parents who have been successful in working with social workers. And with that, I'd like to pass the microphone to Lynette.
Good morning.
Morning.
My name is Lynette, and I had the privilege of having Emily Flossie as my social worker when I went through the DDC program. And I could not and would not be where I am today if it weren't for her loving, caring support. And I completed the program successfully, changed my life completely around for the better. And now today I get the privilege of working with these wonderful social workers. And I agree. I don't know how they do it. I could not do it myself, but I'm trying my best to help them and to pass on to the new families that are coming into the system that they're there to help you, not hurt you. Once I was able to accept that myself, this whole world opened up, and here I am today. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynette. So as you can see, we believe that families can grow, they can change. We as social workers recognize that any one of us could be at that point in life where you just need a little extra help. And with that, I ask that your board approve the resolution before you acknowledging March 2016 as Social Worker Appreciation Month. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, I'd just like to say thank you to all the people that do this incredibly challenging but very important work. And I'm one of those people that have no idea how you do it. And I'm also one of those people that is probably not well adapted personality-wise to doing that kind of thing, and I'm sure I couldn't do it very well. So I want to thank you all for what you do. And any public comment? Bring it back to the board.
Yes, I'm going to agree with what you said. I don't think your personality would let you do it, and I certainly don't think mine would either, because you do a tremendous job, all of you, and there's a need out there. We know there's a need, and without someone taking the torch and doing those things, I don't know where we would be. So again, thank you for what you do.
Supervisor Brennan?
I agree. You work with some of our most vulnerable populations, and you make a difference. You make a difference every single day. And I would actually say that I don't know any of the personalities upon this dais that could do the work that you do. And it's with honor that I'd like to move on the recommendation.
Okay. You got a second?
I have a second.
Okay. Got a motion by Supervisor Brennan, second by Supervisor Gray. And for the purposes of our newly arrived supervisor, we are voting on number 13, consideration of adopting a resolution proclaiming March 2016 as National Social Work Month in Tuolumne County. And I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Passes 4-0 with Supervisor Hanveld absent. Clerk of the board, please read item 14.
Consideration of approving the appointment/reappointment of one vacancy on the Oak Grove Cemetery District.
Okay, do we have someone that's...
Yes.
Okay, Supervisor Gray.
At our last meeting, I had nominated Mr. Wayne Stiers for that position. I was not clear that Lillian Craven still wanted to be on the cemetery board. I did speak with Mr. Stier, and he was very, very nice about the mistake that I'd made, and I would like to nominate Lillian Craven to the Oak Grove Cemetery Board.
Okay, do I have a second? Second. Okay, public comment? Okay, bring it back to the board. Any board comment? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 4-0. Supervisor Hanfeld absent. Please read item 15.
Consideration of approving the Draper Mine Road Bridge Replacement Project number 1333 and the mitigated negative declaration prepared for the project.
Good morning.
Good morning, Chairman, members of the board. Tanya Allen, Supervising Engineer with the Community Resources Agency. Draper Mine Road is classified as a minor collector, and the bridge is located at Curtis Creek is considered structurally deficient based on the Caltrans inspection sufficiency rating of 26.2. This project is funded through the Highway Bridge Program. The new design will correct the existing S-curve and raise the profile of the road approximately 3 feet to increase the hydraulic capacity of the bridge. A bridge type selection report was performed by the county's consultant and reviewed by Caltrans Structures. The proposed replacement bridge will be a single-span precast voided concrete slab slightly upstream from the existing crossing. The new bridge will have 2 12-foot wide lanes and paved shoulders. The alignment selected has the least environmental and fiscal impacts for the project. The environmental coordinator from Caltrans approved a categorical exclusion for the project under the National Environmental Protection Act, also known as NEPA, and a mitigated negative declaration was signed by the environmental coordinator pursuant to the California Environmental Quality Act, also known as CEQA. Upon your board's approval of the Draper Mine Bridge project and the mitigated negative declaration, staff will be able to commence right-of-way activities, including permitting and right-of-way acquisition. Acquisition of minor right-of-way will be required in order to correct the S-curve. The county has acquired right-of-way, the county had acquired right-of-way in 1972 that is north of Draper Mine Road, slightly upstream from the bridge location, and will need to acquire additional sliver parcels, or what we call partial takes, on the south side of Draper Mine Road in order to be in compliance with the Highway Bridge Program. Construction is anticipated to begin in the summer of 2018, but the actual schedule will depend on the duration of the right-of-way activities. It is recommended that your board approve 1, the mitigated negative declaration prepared for the Draper Mine Road Bridge project based on the following findings A through F, and that your board approve the Draper Mine Bridge project based on the followings A through D and number 2. I have today our project manager, Blossom Scottheim, here to address any detailed questions you might have in regards to this project.
Okay. Any board questions of staff?
Yeah, just one quick one. Is any of this money at risk for not being there when the project is?
No, this is if you're concerned about the RSTP funds that are at risk. This is part of the Highway Bridge Program. It's programmed directly into the Federal Transportation Improvement Program, also known as the FTIP.
So no state money at all?
Correct.
All right, thank you.
Okay, any other questions of staff? Okay, public comment on this project? Seeing none, bring it back to the board for comments and motion.
Go ahead.
I'll move on the mitigated neg deck based on findings A through F and move approval of the Draper Mine Road Bridge Replacement Project based on findings A through D.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 4-0 with Supervisor Handvelt, and it's in his neighborhood, absent.
Thank you.
He'd probably have to recuse himself.
Probably would. Okay, item 16.
Consideration of adopting a resolution continuing the local state of emergency as required by the California Emergency Services Act, Article 14, Section 8630C, due to the pervasive tree mortality.
Back again.
I am. Good morning. Tracy Riggs, County Administrator's Office and OES Coordinator. The item before you today is for consideration of renewing the proclamation for a state of emergency for tree mortality. As we know, this continues and will probably continue for at least another 2 years. However, I do want to give you an update on the actions that have taken place since I came before you with the last meeting. As you know, we've been pushing for an exemption from the Department of Industrial Relations for prevailing wage or registration with Department of DIR. We finally received a ruling from DIR, trying to think of the right word, that actually is in favor. So prevailing wage does not apply to this project. So that actually opens up the field a little bit more. There are many who find it very cumbersome to work under prevailing wage. So that we have, I'm sorry, I wasn't sure if Supervisor Royce had a question.
No, that's
Just said,
huge.
wow.
Okay.
That's fantastic.
We're very
I couldn't hold it
excited.
in. Sorry.
The sound you heard was him falling out of his chair.
We're very excited with that. That was something that all of us, including County Council, worked on, and the entire task force. And CAL FIRE was instrumental. In fact, Wade Crowfoot, who is advisor to the governor, has said during the task force, as Supervisor Brennan probably remembers, that they said quit calling, because every time I would call CAL FIRE saying, do we have an answer, once or twice a day, then they turned around and called DIR, and so eventually we got our answer. So we're excited about that, as you can tell. The next thing is we did put out RFQs for our registered professional foresters and our certified arborists. That was open for 2 weeks. It was published on January 27th, and 6 individuals or agencies responded. We had a meeting just last week with those individuals to go over the scope of work. GIS staff came in so they could explain to them how to do the GPS, as we talked about. We are setting ourselves up in the event that we get a presidential declaration. We want to make sure that we are operating under not only Cal OES rules, but also FEMA's guidelines as well. So with that being said, each tree must have a GPS location, the diameter, the height, and then how did we dispose of that tree. So these individuals, as you can imagine, it's not just assessing and identifying and marking trees, it's actually now writing down all of that other information so we have it.
So we're going to tell them that we disposed of the trees by writing on the paper that we made from
That's
the
right.
trees and giving them the report.
That's right.
Oh, boy.
So everyone was very open. We had all 6 companies did show up, so it was a fantastic response even with that. We'll be working with council this week to finalize those contracts, get those signed, and then Mike Albrecht, our project manager, will begin working on dispersing them throughout the county to begin identifying the trees. We also will be sending out letters with a copy of the right of entry permit to those private landowners within those areas that are designated, so that they're not surprised when someone knocks on their door asking if they can assess their trees and asking for a signature on that form. The next thing that we did was we put out an RFQ for licensed timber operators and for D49 tree service companies. That remains open, and we've done that because we are anticipating that once the logging season starts up and fire season starts up, we will resources will change. As they go back to work, we'll need to look at others who are available, so that remains open. As soon as the foresters have marked trees, Mike Albrecht will go through and begin developing what those projects looks like. He will then do walkthroughs with those individuals who respond, and they will be able to then do we'll issue an RFP so that they can do their proposal for each of those projects, and we can get those started. Let's see, next is we did have a tree mortality core planning team meeting, and that meeting is phenomenal. I get excited about when everyone starts coordinating, and so as we look towards both Caltrans and PG&E, we are looking at ways that we can coordinate our resources to the best use of public funds and our other resources, which of course is our time. So what PG&E, for example, or Caltrans, if they already have someone out there, say a tree faller in the area, we're working on why have another tree faller come out in the same area. They'll fall the trees, and then we will come in and make sure those trees get picked up and hauled away. And then CAL FIRE comes in with their work crews, and they will do the cleanup. So there's lots of coordination taking place right now, and Mike Albrecht has been meeting with both PG&E and Caltrans to firm up areas and ways in which we can make that happen. And the next meeting that we have will be on March 11th, so that's not this Friday, but next Friday, so that we can again see where are we, what's happening. We did have some good news, and that is in your memo. The governor's executive order had asked that Caltrans request emergency funding through the Federal Highways Administration. That assistance was approved. We're waiting for the final information to come down through us, but we did have one of the managers from the state task force from Caltrans come in and participate in that core planning team meeting. He's asked us to request a mission task number, which would allow them to not only to go and work outside of their normal, right now they work along adjacent to their roadways, What this would do would be allow them to work up to 200 feet on either side of those roadways. So that's road work or tree removal that we would not have to do. Now, this funding through FHWA is essentially kind of like having a federal proclamation, those funds. So our share for those roadways that would qualify for the major and minor collectors would be 6.25% instead of 25%, and that's huge for us. We worked with the roads crew, so Duke York provided for me a percentage of roads that would qualify under FHWA, and 44% of those roads would qualify. So that's good. It's only almost half, so it's not as good as a presidential proclamation, but we'll take it, but we're still pushing for that presidential proclamation. And then finally, the U.S. Forest Service did host a Good Neighbor Authority workshop. Unfortunately, I was not able to attend, but Supervisor Brennan, Supervisor Hanvelt, and Mike Albrecht did attend. And I would defer to Supervisor Brennan for any information or anything you'd like to share from that meeting.
Yeah, probably one of the most important pieces that I heard there, I've heard it in a couple places now, is that CAL FIRE, one of the subcommittees is a mapping exercise identifying the high hazard zones, which CAL FIRE has been tasked with. Right now, that mapping has really been looking at just infrastructure, and so when you look at it going up into the forest, there's red lines going up with the roads. It does not accurately reflect what is happening out there on the landscape, and so we need to be pushing as hard as we can that those maps get completed ASAP. And there's another component attached to that, and that really has to do with the biomass plants and whatever formula potentially will be used. Funding formula is really going to be concentrating on a certain percentage of material coming out of that high hazard area. And so the maps need to really be reflecting what those zones are. We know they'll be changing rapidly, but we need to at least get them current for what it looks like today.
So that's an excellent point, Supervisor Brennan, because one of the reasons we're doing the GPS also for all those trees that the foresters will be out there was to do ground truthing. And essentially, CAL FIRE has said they will take our information and load it back into their own mapping system for those high hazard zones, because we do expect that our foresters and or arborists will be identifying areas that aren't reflected on those maps. But like you said, there are areas that are not, and we haven't got an updated map in months now, so I know they've been working on that.
No, and this really reflects incorporating the maps that the U.S. Forest Service has with some of their flyovers and overlaying those with on the CAL FIRE maps.
Okay. All right. That'll be a good topic for us to bring up on March 14th when we go to the next task force. So the only other thing I wanted to bring up, and all of you are aware of this, but so that the public is aware, and we will be putting this out in flyer format for both the Union Democrat and for My Mother Lode, KVML, is that we will be hosting, or you all will be hosting, community forums related to tree mortality. These are very similar to the way that we did the drought forums. We want to make sure that we have individuals and agencies present that can do presentations and talk about the work that is taking place, allow for questions and answers, and then we will all hang out and just be around for personal questions to help and assist while we are there. So I just want to give those dates very quickly, and again, these will be published and they'll be on our website as well. On April 7th is the first one, and that is at Columbia Elementary. All of these will start at 6 o'clock, and that is for District 5. The next one is April 12th. That is District 1. That's here in the Board of Supervisors chambers. The next one is for District 2 and 3. It's April 14th in Twain Hart Elementary Cafeteria. And then the final one is District 4, April 19th, and that's at Tenaya Elementary. These, the individuals, or I'm sorry, the agencies that are participating will be, of course, County OES and County Roads Division, Air Pollution Control, Cal OES, Caltrans, PG&E, AT&T, CAL FIRE, U.S. Forest Service, Tuolumne Utilities District, any other special districts within those areas that are doing work. And the goal really is to be able to answer questions for the public that are out there. What's taking place? What are we doing? And also to listen to what are their needs so that we can go and advocate at the state when we're there at those task force meetings. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions of staff?
Just a couple of comments. Tremendous amount of work done in a short period of time. Also want to mention that you did a real good job on my Motherlode Views on the radio the other day, and I hope that people get a chance to listen to that because it did outline what we're doing, and I think it really emphasized the tremendous amount of work that's involved in getting this process in place. So thanks for everybody that's working on this.
Okay. Public comment? Bring it back to the board for any additional comments. I want the public to understand everything that Supervisor Gray said is absolutely true, but I want the public to understand that we've been through 3 states of emergencies and the incredible amount of work for the county staff that those emergencies have entailed. And this is on top of what they do on a normal day-to-day basis to run the county business. I don't know any other group of people that could have pulled off what they've done, and it's mind-blowing for me, and I just want everybody to understand how much we all appreciate the work that you have done, and not just the quantity of it, but the excellent quality of it. Just top-notch work. And Tracy, thank you for your leadership in that role. And with those comments, I would like to have a motion.
I'll approve continuation of the local state of emergency due to pervasive tree mortality.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Supervisor Brennan, a second by Supervisor Royce. Any other comments or questions? Okay, call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 4-0. Handbelt absent. Please read item 17.
Consideration of approving correspondence commenting on the Federal Emergency Management Agency's advance notice of proposed rulemaking regarding the establishment of the disaster deductible.
Okay, you're still here.
I'm still here. This one's not
You're
so
looking
bad,
for
though.
another compliment?
Yeah. Good morning, Tracy Riggs, County Administrator's Office, OES Coordinator. This came out rather suddenly. This is a notice of advance notice of proposed rulemaking that was put out by FEMA on January 20th. And essentially what FEMA is looking at is ways that they can reduce the amount of federal dollars spent on disasters. So they're talking about a form of a deductible. And for those who don't already know, when a governor requests a federal proclamation, the governor must first show that he or she and their state and local governments have first met a financial threshold. For California, that is approximately $53 million. Now, that doesn't sound like much when you look at California's budget, but when you think about that as normally borne at a local government level, that is significant. When we went through that with the Rim Fire, it took not only Tuolumne County, but the city and county of San Francisco, city of Berkeley, and San Jose. It was it's a tremendous amount of local dollars that are being spent at different levels for that to take place. So in essence, there is a great amount of funding that's already being spent at a local level before the proclamation steps in. The language within this advanced rulemaking is very ambiguous. It doesn't go one way or the other saying they want just financial assistance or they want various actions to be taking place to mitigate what could possibly take place, the disasters. So the letter that is before you that I've put in there is it's kind of like a healthcare type approach. Is let's look at prevention rather than response. And in my experience in the last 4 years of working in OES, many counties or jurisdictions do not have hazard mitigation plans in place like ours is approved by FEMA and Cal OES. They don't have updated emergency operations plans. They don't do regular exercises. They don't do these times in which they coordinate with their local responders so that when something happens, they are ready and engaged and can identify what needs to take place. So the letter before you essentially speaks to that everything I've just said, that we already meet a financial threshold, that rather than looking at a dollar amount for counties and or states and cities to meet, but looking at more of a prevention approach rather than a response approach. And I'm happy to add any other language or suggestions you might have, but that essentially is where, and this is going to Karen Keene. Her and I spoke last week, and she will be taking all of this into consideration, and she will be given a copy of the entire letter, as her and I had some questions about the ambiguity related to this advanced rulemaking. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions or any recommendations you may have.
Just a comment, and I know this will be, the first opportunity to provide some correspondence. I think one of the pieces that for me was most troubling is that of the emergency declarations that we've had in the last 3 years, a lot of them are reflective of the national government not doing their job. They're directly related to forest management and the very unhealthy condition that we see out there. And so I really have trouble when we are not recognizing that our response to the emergency declarations in large part have been because they have not managed their lands. So this probably is not necessarily the place to interject that comment, but I certainly feel that it is part of the conversation going forward, because I don't think that this would be the only example where emergencies really are a direct result of them not doing their job.
Thank you. Anybody else? Comments? Public comment? Okay. Yeah, I got to echo Supervisor Brennan's comments. In counties that are majority of their land area is federal, and the feds aren't doing their job, I got a real hard time with the feds trying to up the threshold before they'll come in and help us fix the mess they made. So I just make that oblique comment. Looking for a motion?
I move that we approve the correspondence commenting on the Federal Emergency Management Agency proposed rulemaking of establishing a disaster deductible.
Second.
Okay. That was a mouthful. Got a motion by Supervisor Gray, a second by Supervisor Royce. No other comment. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 4-0. Handel absent. And please read item 18, the one we've all been waiting for.
This is a presentation and update on the National Disaster Resiliency Competition Funding Award.
All right. Well, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, yeah, the much-awaited announcement of what we've actually been awarded for our NDRC project. I'll just back up and say it was back in October that the Phase 2 application was submitted on behalf of the state, because this is a partnership project. It's not just the County of Tuolumne, but numerous state and federal partners. And it was late January when we were told, at least statewide, there was an award of $70 million. So on the screen and in your staff report is a summary of the different components that went into the application. So for forest and watershed health, there was $40 million allocated. Community resilience centers, there was 2 that were in the application, one much larger than the other, totaling $55 million, and then the biomass facility in Wood Product Campus at about $22 million. That's how we came to our $117 million. Let me slide this down. A lot of folks have heard those broad numbers. This slide does show the breakdown, and I'm just going to use the pointer here where it says Sierra Nevada Conservancy in these first 5 rows. That's what comprises the forest and watershed health component as it was originally submitted. So you can see for restoration and reforestation, a little over $12.8 million was set aside for that or applied for that. Biomass removal and thinning, about $16.1 million. Strategic fuel breaks, approximately $5 million. Rangeland improvements, about $1.8 million. and noxious weed treatments to the tune of about $2.3 million. That was the original application. And then you can see the breakdown between the two resilience centers as originally proposed. In the Groveland area, it was a combined community resilience center and California Conservation Corps camp, and that's about $35.2 million. And then we had a resilience center in Tuolumne to the tune of about $17 million. And then you can see down at the biomass facility about $21 million allocated for that. The difference in some of these numbers is the administrative overhead, that was expected to be removed. So with a drum roll, this is what we learned late last week, is what's actually going to be allocated for each of these activities. So back to the rolled up numbers. For forest and watershed health, the application again was for $40 million, and the award will be just a tad over $28.6 million. That's an $11.4 million reduction. For the community resilience centers, we're going from 2 centers totaling $55 million to 1 center totaling roughly $19.8 million, or about a $35.2 million reduction, primarily because they eliminated an entire center. And for the biomass facility and wood product campus, we applied for $22 million, and the award is for $22 million. So in total, the application was reduced from $117 million to $70.3 million and some change, a $46.6 million reduction. And I just want to pause and say it's really bad news that we actually had these reductions, but it's really good news in the sense that we got a $70.3 million award that's going to help us recover from the rim fire, and the goal is to become a more resilient community moving forward. We're also hoping, as a team, that as we implement these projects, that we will do so well, and we could potentially become a model that could be replicated, not just in the state of California, but in the western United States, of how to go about healthy forest practices and becoming more resilient, as these rural communities. Now, what I don't have is a breakdown of exactly, how is this money going to be distributed? For example, with the forest and watershed health, I gave the high points of those 5 different components for forest and watershed health. What we've been told is this is a lump sum award, and they did not break down, which, if they didn't make adjustments to each of those 5 different areas for the watershed or forest and watershed health project. That's something that's going to be worked out with the team, primarily with the Sierra Nevada Conservancy working with the Forest Service. So that is something that needs to be done, but they did not make specific cuts at a project or activity level. So that is something that needs to be done. Again, I'll just mention the biomass facility. Nothing's really changed there. They're going to talk, now we get into the details of how to bring a project like that to life. But back to our community resilience centers, we know that there's one. We've asked them, has HUD basically made a choice of which community that the one resilience center will go into, and they said no. That will be a decision to be made locally in consultation, with the overall team. So we will be able to choose between the 2 communities, Tuolumne and Groveland. However, there will be a lot of input, from HUD administrative folks as well as the statewide team. What exactly will be contained in the resilience center? That also is going to be subject to future discussion. Again, the larger facility that was applied for up in Groveland included the CCC, base as part of that. They would still like to see some type of partnership with the CCC, and this is based on a phone call just this morning before the board meeting. But they realize that we're not going to be able to, build what was originally envisioned. It was also interesting in discussing this with a representative from State Housing and Community Development. That as far as the application, how was it rated? They really see activities such as the evacuation center component of a resilience center is not really an eligible activity. It's allowed, would be allowed, but what they really gave us the award for was the training and educational component of the Resilience Center. And that's what they're really going to focus on, is the education and training component of it. The evacuation, using it as a center as a byproduct, they're okay with that. But what we're really being awarded for is the training and educational component of that facility. Again, a lot of that's going to have to be defined. Again, which community, what activities, who are the partners going to be, what are the programs are going to be done, who's going to be providing that education and training. All that stuff is things that need to be worked out in the coming months. And before I get on a few more details, let me flash up on the screen too about the different components. This may be hard to see. It's in the packet, but this is just showing a general breakdown of who's responsible for which component of these projects. Over on the far left is the Forest and Watershed Health, and the program manager is supposed to be the Sierra Nevada Conservancy. And then you can see in a box below, this isn't a final answer, but the agency partners would be Sierra Nevada Conservancy working with CAL FIRE, the U.S. Forest Service, also the CCC. For the biomass and wood products, the program manager of that component would be the Sierra Nevada Conservancy and Cal EPA. And then partners with the Forest Service, Tuolumne County, and potentially others speaking into it. And then, of course, the program manager for the Resilience Center would be the County of Tuolumne, with partners such as Columbia College, the CCC, Tuolumne County Economic Development, Forest Service, and others. Some things that we've asked about the rules of the game as we entered into it. Was without a time extension. We only had 2 years from the time that we signed a contract to actually get each of these components to be done. Well, in each of these cases, there's really nothing that could be fully completed within 2 years. What the actual drop dead date could be is that by September 30th, 2020, that's when HUD would expect all goals and targets to have been met. And a center like this Resilience Center, in our case, would need to be operational by September 30, 2020. That's if the time extensions that are being sought are indeed approved. And HUD expects those time extension requests to be made, and we're expecting that they would approve those. We do need to provide justification, but we are expecting to get those time extensions. One thing that they're talking about, and again, this is a part of any grant, there's going to be administrative oversight. We knew that there'd be the statewide team headed by Housing and Community Development, but we've been told that HUD is going to be very much hands-on every step of the way. This is different than what HUD has done before. This is not a typical project for them, and they're stepping outside of their area of expertise, and they really want to be hands-on with this. There's two ways you can look at that. That's really bad news, because that's not their expertise, and that could be more administrative intervention. On the other hand, these are the folks that hold the money, and if they're down actually working with you, they will know more about the actual things that we're working with, and hopefully be more understanding as we move forward with it. But we're told that there's also going to be, we could expect monitoring and close oversight through the Office of Inspector General to make sure that we're following all the right procurements, whether that be for acquisition of property, construction, contracting for any consulting help, contractors out in the forest, whatever, that they'll be just making sure that we're following all of the proper procurement rules. That's not totally unexpected, but it catches my attention that they make a point of it in the briefings to us. There are going to be plans that will need to be developed, including all financial aspects the partners, the goals, objectives, and the outcomes, we are going to be expected to have clear performance metrics on each of these components of this grant. Again, not totally unexpected. There needs to be accountability with how we spend any money and grant money. But again, we're moving into territory that none of us have gone before, including HUD. And they were talking about having quarterly performance reports that they would expect as we move forward. There's even some discussion when we've had some meetings, even as recently as yesterday was here at Nevada Conservancy. There's been questions about could there be the potential of planning grants that could spin out of this that maybe weren't spoken to initially in our grant applications. And evidently HUD is open to that potential of some planning grants. Again, some areas are new to us as well, and there may be a benefit to use some of this money to accomplish some planning in each of these areas. But again, each of those areas need to be defined. We need to justify any requests that are made and then get approvals for them. I was asking, back to something the chairman mentioned. We've been doing a lot of stuff in recent years here, and a lot of additional activities. So I've asked the question of this money: would we have an ability to use some money for administrative support? And with respect to the resilience grant, resilience center component, I was given a figure that could range between $300,000 to $400,000 to help with administrative costs. So that's good news because I think we're going to need some additional help. I know we will as we try to move this thing forward. Then last, a couple other things. HCD expected to have contracts back from HUD for the state to sign sometime between April and May is when the contracts will be signed between the state and HUD, and they will be sending us templates of agreements over the next few weeks, and we'll be bonding with county council to review those. But as soon as the state signs their agreement with HUD, then they would be expecting fairly rapidly that the county would sign agreements in turn with HCD. As HUD's go between on this, so that's another time frame that we can look forward to. And then lastly, they would like to do some form of media, formal announcement and kickoff. They would like to actually do that on March 17. They're going to have one activity at the steps of the state capitol the morning of March 17. And then that afternoon of the same day, they would like to do some type of activity, here in Tuolumne County, a location to be determined and all that. But that would be kind of a formal kickoff with some of the dignitaries involved with this grant program. So that's what I know. There's a lot I don't know. There's going to be calls, additional calls between HUD and HCD, and with some of the local players, here in the county. They're talking about scheduling some team meetings here in the coming weeks. And as we have those meetings, we can ask more questions, get more clarification of exactly what's going to be expected of us, and when. So that's what I know, and I'm available for any questions.
Any questions?
It's good to know that they are open to the funding for the administration of the planning grant. Going back to the time frame, it would seem that any of these projects are going to require environmental review, and you're a year and a half just to get that done, and it just doesn't even seem like that time frame at 2020 is realistic.
Yeah, 2022.
Or 2022. Well, maybe we can do it then in 2022. But yeah,
but that's done. That's done. Too. So that we'd have to get those environmental reviews early.
Turnkey. The other question I have, within that grant is, whatever community center is built, it's going to require a certain amount of staffing cost, and is there? The question I would have is, can we include, say, 3 to 5 years worth operation cost within that grant.
Yeah, I asked a similar question this morning, and the initial answer is no, but I will circle back. One other thing that was mentioned as we were going through the process, though, is that there are other programs that are out there that we might be able to partner with, other state and federal programs where funding like that may become available. Also, you may recall that there were meetings, training sessions that were sponsored by the Rockefeller Foundation as this was going through. And I recall state folks, again, your Deputy CAO Maureen Frank, who again was key, for the county, for the entire county through this whole process. They were mentioning that there are philanthropic organizations that may have interest in investing as part of these projects, and perhaps even other things that weren't funded through the grant. So those are places that I would be looking to as well to see if we can get some support for those programs, those ongoing costs.
Anybody else? Public comment? Okay. I don't think there's any action required, is there?
No, there's not.
I didn't think so. Thank you very much.
All right.
And let's move on to item 19.
Consideration of approving agreements with Rico USA, Inc. for new multifunctional devices, installation of fax servers, implementation of auto store, and the removal of the old multifunctional devices.
Good morning.
Good morning. Daniel Richardson, Deputy County Administrator. About 2.5 years ago, we came to you to replace our fleet of copy machines with new Rico multifunction devices. We're back today to do a refresh and to replace most of those machines with exactly 61 new multifunction devices. In the past, we called these copiers, but in reality, these machines today, they copy, they act as printers, they will hopefully act as fax machines, and they also work as scanners, which we have used a lot since their implementation. This contract, the reason why we're doing it is that we actually will reduce the cost of the copiers. Our monthly charge will go down, and we will also receive additional efficiencies. One of the functions that we will get with these new machines is we'll be able to scan, not just scan to a PDF, but scan so it's a readable, a searchable PDF. You can scan to a Word document, scan to an Excel. So it allows us, it's really our foundation for a true document management system. So we are excited to be able to replace these. Once we put in this order, the machines will actually be replaced by March 31st this month, so it'll be very fast. There's some deal going on, I think, in Japan. They need to get rid of their machines quickly, and so we're going to be the beneficiary of that. This is through the U.S. Communities contract, so is a pre-bid contract, and so we did not need to do a formal RFP. I just wanted to mention and thank those who have been key to make this happen, and that's Matt Hirschler and Janelle Kwashnick with RICO, and they are here if you have any questions of them on the technicalities of making this happen. Also, Bob Chapman with IT was key in helping them meet with all the various departments to see what is working and what improvements they would like to see with this copier refresh program. With that, we have contracts that are proposed for approval.
Any questions of staff? Public comment? Daniel, what's my question?
Any public comment?
No. Are we going to have AirPrint capability with these things?
Yes. They actually, it exists in the current machines. In order to have AirPrint enabled, it is a matter of coordinating that with our wireless network.
Okay, so
yes, these
are we
can
going to
make
do
that
that
happen.
coordination?
We intend to make that happen for you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, with any other comments? Can I get a motion?
Move that we approve the agreement with RICO.
Second?
Second.
Okay, I've got a motion by Supervisor Gray, a second by Supervisor Brennan to approve the agreement with RICO. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. And opposed? 4-0, hand belt absent. Okay, number 20.
Consideration of adopting a resolution acknowledging the new scope and budget commitments related to the new county jail, which is being funded through both AB 1022 and AB 900 grant dollars.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Pedro.
Yes. The short of this presentation today is I am not going to ask you to approve a resolution today. Everything that's in this memo is accurate as far as what needs to happen in order to move the jail project forward. There's an important step called project establishment with the State Public Works Board, but it requires us coordinating with proper state agencies and developing a packet of material, which is essentially done. The notable exception right now is this resolution where we go over our finances with the state. Again, just for your and the public's information, we have two grants to build this new jail, the one through SB 1022 and one through AB 900. There were two resolutions your board has approved in the past that kind of need to be restated, not rescinded, but just restated in the current environment. We have a new estimate for this project, and we need to mention that the combined cost of this project and how these two grants work together in funding the project, restate our commitment to meet the local match using county dollars, and that all needs to happen, and we're working towards that end. And when I was talking with state officials about this to try to bring it to conclusion late last week, they apologized, but they would like us to work with the Department of Corrections on that resolution rather than the Board of State and Community Corrections, which is who we had been working with. There's agreement on all that needed to happen and the major components of the grant, but they said they really would like us to work with the Department of Corrections. So we'll do that, and we'll be back in probably 2 more meetings. And we'll shoot for the May Public Works Board getting that approved.
Okay, so no action today.
No action today.
Okay. Would anybody from the public like to comment on no action today? Seeing none, we'll go to item 20. Oh, I'm sorry. We'll go to item 21.
Reports.
We'll start with the clerk of the board.
Nothing to report, thank you.
Okay. County Council.
Okay, over the past several weeks, our office has been working on dealing with a TOT collection issue, some public administrator and public guardianship hearings, and reviewing some new liability claims. Carlin and I attended a CSAC training last Friday, and I've been working with a council, other county councils that are dealing with the tree mortality, so doing phone calls with them. And Cody's keeping busy with contested hearings for the juvenile matters. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Pedro?
Yeah, just one bit of good news I wanted to share with your board. I mentioned as part of the fire insurance work that we're tasked with, we had our fire department to go back and re-engage ISO to see if we could improve our rating countywide. And in a letter dated February 26, ISO has formally upgraded the county's fire insurance. Well, they actually call it a public protection classification from a 5 to a 4 4Y, which is an improvement, and it should have a positive impact on fire insurance costs, throughout Tuolumne County, those areas that are impacted by the county fire department. So hats off to Chief White, Avila, the entire department for their work on this. This is good news for the county and its residents.
Mr. Peter, could you forward that letter to me when you get a chance?
Absolutely. I'll scan it and send it. Just got it, so this is great news.
Actually, why don't you copy
everybody.
the entire board? Yeah.
You got it.
Thanks. Supervisor Gray.
Okay, just a short report. Last week I attended Emergency Medical Service Committee meeting, and there was the annual report done on ambulance service, and we are really busy. We have a number more uses of that ambulance this last year than we previously had, and it's good to know that we have a really good contractor running that, because very few complaints. It's run very smoothly. We have some aged vehicles that are getting replaced, so just to let everybody know it's in good hands and functioning well. That's it.
Supervisor Brennan.
Thank you. Again, just a short report. On the 18th, I did attend the Board of Directors meeting for CSAC. A number of the topics are topics that we discuss here quite often, medical marijuana. One that I think is of particular interest to this board, though, is road funding. And I did take the letter that we had approved at our previous meeting, and I'm going to say that it was not received warmly. CSAC really representing all of the counties in the state. Very few of them are under 100,000 in population. We will keep working at that, but my suggestion is that we really be reaching out to the other smaller counties. I did talk to some representatives from counties as close as Mariposa and Calaveras, and they had not seen a letter or a template like that. I would encourage us to be sharing that both with our smaller counties, as well as really advocating through RCRC, because I think we will get more traction in that venue. And then last Wednesday, had a very informal meeting in Calaveras County with supervisors from Amador, Calaveras, and Tuolumne County, and just discussing what some of the unmet needs are that we have with respect to some of the behavioral health common deficiencies. And so we'll be continuing those conversations just to see if there's any potential for shared services and helping with some of those problems. But we'll be bringing that information to the board.
Okay.
That's it.
So on the 18th, had a little busy day. Went to the reception at the Jamestown Family Resource Center. Awesome operation down there. Really, a lot of really good work being done in the Jamestown community around that center. That afternoon, I attended the Stanislaus National Forest over the snow vehicle workshop that they had at the Best Western. Kind of an interesting activity, mostly just generating or collating public input on their proposals. And then that evening, I went to the Tuolumne County Chamber of Commerce mixer. And then on Saturday, along with two other supervisors who we all stayed separate, so there was no Brown Act violation, went to Peggy Mosley's very nice celebration of life up in Groveland. And I'll just say one last time, what a loss for that community and for this county that is. And that is my report. And at this time, I think probably just recess until the 10:30. And I would ask all the participants at the 10:30 to be in their seats at 10:30. We have a pretty tight agenda. And with that, would you please read our 10:30 appointment? Clerk of the board.
This is
Supervisor
close.
Rutherford, I'm sorry to interrupt. Are you going to come back here at 10:30 to read it?
No, we're going to read it now in recess.
I think we need to read it here at 10:30 because
Okay.
in case anyone's coming back.
Okay,
just
then
in
let's
case.
be back here at 10:30. We will go ahead and recess until then. please read our 10:30 closed session.
It's closed session conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation authority, government code section 549569D2, one case.
Okay, any public comment on the closed session item? In that case, we will move into closed session, and we anticipate no report, and we will be back at 11:30 for our 11:30 appointment. Our 10:30 appointment, we have nothing to report. Will the clerk of the board please read our 11:30 appointment?
Consideration of awarding a request for proposal to Tesla Motor, Inc. and authorizing staff to negotiate a lease for a portion of the county-owned Groveland parking lot.
And
Mr.
Supervisor
Chairman,
Gray.
I have to recuse myself. According to Government Code 87100, I own property within 300 feet of this project. Thank you.
We'll miss you. Yes, sir.
Daniel Richardson, Deputy County Administrator. Before you today, we have an exciting project. The county sent a request for proposal earlier this year to get interested electric vehicle charging station network companies to see if there's interest in providing an electrical charging station in the Groveland area. We did receive one proposal from Tesla Motors, and they have put in a bid to use 8 parking spaces in the Groveland parking area that the county owns in downtown Groveland, in back of the where the old jail is located, a beautiful spot. Tesla has met what we feel is all the specifications that we included in our request for proposals. They are ready to construct this fast charging station, which will accommodate 8 vehicles. We did send this RFP out to other electrical charging companies such as Blink, ChargePoint, NRG EVGO, others. Tesla was the only proposal that came back. We have met with them on site, and they have provided us with some site diagrams and provide us with information that says that they have a responsive bid. And today's action is that we request that the Board of Supervisors approves us moving forward with negotiating a lease under the terms that were set forth in the RFP. It's been quite an interesting time meeting with Tesla and seeing some of their vision and what they want to accomplish in bringing Tesla vehicles to not just Tuolumne County and Yosemite in this case, but to the entire country. Cameron Waldman, their regional project manager, is here and can give you some of their vision on where electric vehicles, what their vision of electric vehicles is, and I don't know other areas. I have talked to other entities in the county. We've been visiting the Visitors Bureau, the Chamber of Commerce, also with Transit, Tuolumne County Transit, and they are all supportive of this proposal moving forward. I should mention that there's been lots of discussion on what can actually be charged with Tesla's charging station, and it is just Tesla vehicles. They do not charge other companies' electric vehicles. So with that, Cameron wanted to say a few words on behalf of Tesla.
So, public comment. Come on up.
Hi,
Welcome.
everyone. Thank you. Thanks, Daniel. And thanks for having me to the board. So we've been working with Daniel and Tesla. We're really excited about this potential project. Superchargers are extremely fast charging stations that essentially promote long distance travel. So it's really a network that's kind of the first of its kind, and gets electric cars from kind of a neighborhood driving short range vehicle to something that you can really drive throughout the whole country. So currently our network goes throughout the entire country. Most major routes you can drive, so essentially from here all the way to New York or Miami. So this station in Groveland would be a new link in that chain, essentially connecting it to the rest of the country. These supercharger stations typically take about 40 minutes to an hour to charge most of your battery. So we typically try to put them near amenities for people to kind of take a little time, grab a bite to eat, do some shopping, and they tend to help stimulate a bit of growth, economic growth in the area. So the parking lot that we were discussing seems like an ideal spot for the station, and it'll be the perfect gateway to Yosemite for emissionless travel through the park.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
Good morning. My name is Tom Clausen. I'm the president of the Yosemite Highway 120 Chamber of Commerce. We're located in Groveland. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak with you this morning. We are firmly supportive of Tesla installing these stations. I think most of you have been in Groveland and realize that there's not too many opportunities or locations where something like this could be located and let people have access to downtown. As you know, if you're down at the library end, it's a little precarious walking to get back up in town, the length of walk, the amount of sidewalks and so forth. This location is ideal because it does afford a lot of access to the town. There's a lot of restaurants, meat market, hotels that are located throughout the town, and this location gives drivers of Tesla vehicles short walking distances and access to that. Of course, the charm of all of this is an environmental add in that it isn't a mixed technology where you've got electric and gas. It is all electric. Tesla is about the only vehicle that has the range that would facilitate getting in and out of Yosemite easily. So we just see it as just a win-win for the town, the community, and the state parks. So we would ask that you do approve this and move forward. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Board comment, or go ahead.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I just want to say that it's a great project. I'm glad to be supportive of it. I did have a question for, thank you. Just about the likelihood of being able to create other stations within the county. I would like to encourage you to look at it.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, definitely. We're expanding very quickly. Right now, we kind of target locations that are really going to maximize use and open up areas that are of immediate demand to people. So once we've fleshed out the majority of the major interstates and the major destinations, we're able to then kind of expand. So I would certainly think that possibly somewhere in Sonora would be a really good spot to really catch all the intersections there. So that's certainly something we're interested in the future.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And you just captured my comment representing the city of Sonora. I think Sonora would be a great location for that.
Yeah, no, we will certainly keep it in mind.
Yeah. I'd like to see people be able to go up the 108 corridor and connect people traveling through 49. So
definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Anything we can do to be supportive and helpful, we want to be good.
Yeah, that would be
partners.
great. Yeah.
Right on.
Okay. So do I get a motion?
Move on staff recommendation.
Okay. Motion by Supervisor Royce, second by Supervisor Brennan on staff recommendation. Any other comments? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? And one recusal, one absence. So it's 3-0. Okay. Will the clerk of the board please read our item number 22?
This is closed session, Conference of Labor Negotiators, Craig Pedro and Friend, Authority Government Code Section 54957.6.
Okay, I'm going to open it up for public comment. You've waited patiently, and I I appreciate that, and I'm really sorry that we had to defer you.
Well, again, Mike Egner with Operating Engineers, and before I get into what I started to say, back to this Brown Act issue, I'm not naive, as far as how the Brown Act works, and I think it's unfortunate, this technicality, because even number 22 is not written properly in your notice. But beside that, there's the letter of the law and the spirit of the law. And I think what we tried to accomplish this morning, there were a lot of employees here that wanted to see the board, and unfortunately it went this way. With that, and I'm here to tell you that I think you're doing a decent job, and that's what's sad about this whole thing this morning. OE3 as an organization, I think, has a good relationship in the last few years, with the CEO, with the Human Resources, with the board. You guys have been very transparent with our organization. We're moving into the negotiation season. I'm not here to negotiate. I'll make that clear, so I don't violate any other technical issues. But I wanted to kind of give you a heads up, because you've been very transparent with us, is that our CBA was extended from July 1st to December 31st. There was a percentage increase for that, and the reason being is the salary comp study. That's a huge project. I've got those binders. I've read through all those. We've had to meet on those. And your staff is doing an awesome job with that. And so we had no problem with that. And I think the county realizes, that, with the recession, you guys and gals are trying to work with your employees. You're trying to give them better benefits and stuff. But even with that little bump there during that extension period, some of your employees are getting assistance because of the medical costs increased. Their employees paying $600 a month out of their own pocket for medical. Now, with that being said, our CBA timed out December 31st. Today is March 1st. The item that was originally pulled from your closed session earlier this morning, it was supposed to be here at 1:30. We were actually going to talk at that, and so we had to readjust for that. But that's a problem because, and I'm just telling you, looking down the road, there's an issue of retroactivity that's going to have to be addressed because we are not extending this. This has been going on for over 3 months now, and we're trying to work with the county. And like I keep telling you, we have a good relationship. We want to be successful. I mean, this is a huge undertaking, but that's going to have to be addressed. Dealing with a contract, you guys have gone through negotiations before. It's not something you can do in a week. We're looking at months now, so now we're going to be 5 months beyond, without anything there. So that's something you really need to take a look at. And your employees, there's kind of mixed camps right now. They're excited about this. They want to see what it is. And I appreciate the board is committed to doing something, but yet they're apprehensive, and especially with the medical costs. Looking down the road again, there's going to a window is going to come regarding medical coverage that we need to look at it way before a week before it's time to make a decision, because we need to do that. I think we need to address those issues. But I wanted to tell you, basically is, we think things are going pretty decent. There are a couple possible hiccups that could happen. That retroactivity is a huge one. I'm just giving you a heads up for that. And we don't want to go negotiations the route we went last time. We want to be successful. We want to get it done in a timely manner. We're willing to go. We've met once. We're just waiting basically for y'all up there. I mean, I know this item was pushed to the 15th. Come on, you got to get something done here. We need to get this going. And I'm just speaking for our group, and I'm sure the other bargaining units are, they're chomping at the bit, want to get it done. And I do appreciate the fact you're looking at the 5-year plan, but you got to cut loose here, and we need to do something. That's what I wanted to approach you with this morning. All
Okay.
right?
Thank you very much.
Always available to talk.
Well, thank you very much. And any good labor relation is a partnership.
It is.
And we look forward
It
to
is, and that's why I'm giving you a
making
heads
it
up.
that. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming back.
Yeah, I'm
Get it
really
done.
apologize for that. Okay, and as the gentleman just said, the closed session item is not properly written with the Brown Act, so we are going to have a to be determined scheduled closed session, special session of the board, and we will be publishing that with the normal Brown Act requirements. So With that, we have no further business, do we? Okay, then the March 1st meeting of the Board of Supervisors, Tuolumne County is adjourned.